Dogs get views, right? We've just taken delivery of our new T6.1 in Ascot Grey, and we thought we'd do a little video to show you the difference between 6.1 and 6. Lots of people say that 6.1s are just early T5 that's been facelifted and facelifted and facelifted, but we don't think they are. There's quite a few changes, so we'll try and talk you through stuff we've discovered along the way. Some that's obvious, the front bumper, and then some stuff that's a bit different underneath. We'll get on the ramp later. Okay, so first of all we'll talk you through our van and why we chose it. So we went with a Start line because we really like their black bumpers. I think you'll see a lot more Highlands around, but we really wanted to keep the commercial look to kind of reflect what we did with this one. That's Mikey's.
We went with Ascot Grey. It's a brand new colour from VW, so it was a bit of a risk, but I think it's going to be really popular. We're really pleased with it. Some obvious changes are the new front bumper. There's a 6, the 6.1. The radar in the later 6s and the earlier ones with adaptive cruises here, which is kind of ugly, I suppose. And on the 6.1 it's a lot more blended in and hidden. The badge is exactly the same, by the way. The lights are quite different, they seem quite a lot narrower. VW have gone with a H7 for the dip beam on this. That's a big improvement over the standard original T6 lights. It allows the dip and the main beam to stay on at the same time. This T6 has obviously got our new lights in it, but we'll start developing sexy new lights for the T6.1 in time, I'm sure. It's the small things, but we really like the new N in the Transporter logo. I don't know if you can pick that up there. Side on, everything's exactly the same from the front wing back. Although there is a change in the door handle, we really like the way the door handle now opens. It's a lot smoother and less clunky than the original 6s and the 5s even. Inside we've just gone for a standard panel van, but we upgraded to the rubber, softer padded floor. The LED lights now come as standard in the rear, a lot brighter than the standard original halogen bulbs that come in the earlier stuff. LEDs down in your combi step as well. Inside the dash is obviously quite different. This is just a start line with a basic stereo, but even that comes with app connector standard. You now need USB-C cables. They've updated the ports from the standard regular USB port. The dash just seems more modern. We've got a new shape crafter and it seems very much like a smaller new shape crafter inside. We love the new steering wheel. It's a lot nicer and chunkier and leather with a flat bottom, and the multifunction controls come as standard. We went with heated seats as that's the must, because I'm an old man and I like a warm arse when I'm coming to work. We added aircon to this start line as well. There's more heater control or fan speed options. You can see there's 6 now on this one. An optional traction control now as well.
So something else that's quite obvious and a lot of people are complaining about, and I don't blame them, it's that. Damn, that's ugly. That's your new antenna built in there. I think quite a few people have colour coded them, although I'm told VW are saying you can't do that. But I'm sure that in time people will figure out, I think what we'll potentially do, if it's possible, or figure out a way to maybe move it back into the wing mirror cover and fill that and paint it, but I don't know, we need to have a play with it.
So this is a start line model, and we ordered a tailgate. These are the new T6.1 rear lights that we've already seen people start to fit on T5s and T6s. But we've bought this as a fairly basic spec for the reasons that we can then use it to start developing new stuff. So we'll use this van to develop a new T6.1 light with some sort of sexy indicators or stuff at some point. In the rear, nothing particularly new or exciting apart from the LEDs we mentioned earlier in the roof. These no longer can be turned on and off with a rocker switch in the roof. The switch for it is inside the cab at the front, shown here. The glove box is still piss poor, no room in there to get anything in really apart from maybe a pair of Ray-Bans. No comfort dash option available at the minute, but I'm sure that'll come in time. But just in general the dash is a lot nicer, been a lot more, it feels a lot more up to date and a lot more modern. The door pockets have changed, they seem quite a lot narrower. Not quite sure where we're going to put the controller for the air, but we'll figure something out, maybe put it up here somewhere, or we'll see how we go. There's no driver's side vent now, they're just both over on the passenger side.
New key, Mark 7 style, or what would you call it, Mark 7?
Or Raptor.
So, it's the small things that please us. Standard T6 key. There we go. So next week, the task is to make this lower than that. And this man's doing it.
Can't wait.
Ooh, electronic power steering. It's a small thing, but it actually does make a big difference. It feels really nice to drive on the road, and even just sitting still like this. We're just going to have a short break and then we'll get it on the ramp and show you a few bits we found that are different underneath. It's time for, well, anybody that follows us will know it's Friday, so it must be Mexican Friday. Right, so we'll just talk you through some of the obvious things that we've discovered underneath. Mikey's better versed to talk you through that, so we'll go through those as we lift it up.
We know from one of our German suppliers that there's a different part number for the T6.1 for the front springs. We're also told they already sit 8 to 10 mil higher than a T6 would. There seems to be like a rubber ring that sits just the other side of the spring. We'll find out more about this when we start to strip it next week. All over shouldn't make any difference, everything else seems the same.
There's brake cooling now. So this is going to be for cooling the brakes if you ever tow in or anything like that. So we've had another change to do with the front suspension. The roll bar actually mounts differently. It mounts on top of the subframe rather than vertically as it used to. Most likely this is something to do with the steering rack change. Obviously it's electric now, it takes a lot bigger motor. It's obviously quite noticeable under here. If you looked at comparison to a T6, there's like a H frame sort of pattern. That's just to enclose all of the new steering rack in there. A lot of the under trays have changed now. They seem they are a lot deeper than what they used to be. And there's a lot more aero in them. As you can see, there's a lot of fins in the back directing air around. You've also got, flap in front of your wheel. A lot of cars have that.
When we factory ordered this, we opted for no spare wheel. You can just have the tyre gunk stuff that comes with a lot of modern Audis and VWs now, as opposed to having a spare wheel. The spare wheel doesn't really work for us anyway, because by the time we put it on air and put big 20-inch wheels on it and skinny tyres, the spare wheels don't work anyway. So for us, it was just a better option to do it this way around.
So that's about it at first glance. That's all we've noticed so far. We're going to start ripping this thing to pieces next week and getting it low. So I'm sure we'll find some more stuff as we go along. And as I said earlier, we'll try and document as much of that as we can and show you stuff that we possibly encounter along the way. If you've got any questions, post them below and we'll try and answer them, or anything you want us to check out when we start to rip this thing to pieces, let us know and we'll try and answer them if we can. What is it all those YouTubers say? What do they say? Like, share and subscribe. We'll try and do a load more if we can. It's been emotional. Bye.